Alright, just so you know, I've got a cold, so if my voice sounds funny, that's why. Alright, on with the video. It's no secret that Season 5 of Rick and Morty hasn't been universally liked. Look, I'm not going to get into the whole divided fanbase war nonsense that's going on, but I think it's safe to say that reaction has been mixed. And while I don't agree with the people saying that it's a universal, massive quality drop that's come out of nowhere, I do think that Season 5 feels different. Of course, different doesn't equal bad. The season premiere is one of my favourite episodes of the show to air in years, but for better or worse, something about these episodes, something about the tone, feels like a change to me from, say, the first few seasons. And I wanted to start covering Rick and Morty on this channel, but I didn't want to make the sort of video you see too often, where someone just speaks in vague, opinionated ways about their perception of a show's quality. So I sat down with some paper, a pen, and half an idea and started watching the show. And I was looking for jokes. Okay, I'm not a mathematician, but I wanted to try a rudimentary statistical analysis of the show's pacing. So I picked 2 episodes, one from Season 5 and one from Season 1, randomly. Season 1's was Something Ricked This Way Comes, or the Pluto/Devil episode, and Season 5's was Rick and Morty's Thanksploiting Spectacular, also known as the Turkey episode. I don't consider either of these episodes to be the best or worst picks from their respective seasons, so I think we can take them to be roughly representative of the show at these different points in its existence, and I counted every punchline. What I mean by that is not that I counted every single gag in the episode, or everything that made me smile or laugh. I didn't count exposition or plot-driving stuff if it just happened to be funny as well. I tried to count only moments existing primarily for humour, the sorts of moments that, were Rick and Morty a Chuck Lorre sitcom, would be followed by canned laughter. Obviously, humour is subjective. I'm sure different people would maybe view some of these cases differently to how I did, but I took solace in the fact that my conditions, subjective as they are, didn't vary between these episodes. In a sense, my sense of humour is the control variable. And, you know, I like to think I have a sophisticated sense of humour. No, you weren't meant to laugh at that. Anyway, the results were pretty decisive. To be honest, I wasn't really that surprised, but by my count, the Season 1 episode had about 57 of these punchline type moments, whereas the Season 5 episode had 93. This works out to a little over 4 a minute, but remember, in that time there's opening and end credits, and this was an episode pretty heavy on exposition and action sequences, each of which really diluted the punchline ratio. But despite this, my figures show that the Season 5 episode had over 50% more jokes than its Season 1 equivalent. Look, I know that these numbers aren't exactly rigorously checked. I only checked 1 episode from each season, so the sample size is pretty tiny, and my method isn't really the most scientific, but you know, this isn't a peer-reviewed journal. I just wanted to get a rough sense of if there was evidence outside of my own head for Season 5's tone and pacing feeling different. And I think that this little experiment satisfies that, more or less. But I don't want to leave it there. There's another piece of the puzzle. Haphazard statistical analyses are all well and good, but these numbers feel a little abstract, so I thought I'd talk briefly about one small character moment which I think gets to the heart of the Season 5 feeling. Roll the clip.
Those people want to steal the robot. They're gonna kill Rick. He's all alone. We've got to go save him.
Right. Or, you know, him.
I'm good with that.
Guys, a great leader once told me, you get the family you get.
This is not a big moment on the face of it. It's short, no one reacts to it, and the episode doesn't really give any importance to it. But it's a massive moment. This is the same character who has been terrified to say anything against her father for years, for fear that he'll leave again. The character that, after living in a dystopian, alien-ruled Earth for months because of Rick, chooses him in a heartbeat over her husband. I'm not even saying that Beth wouldn't say this, that it's out of character for her. I can kind of see her character reacting this way at this point in the series, especially after the whole clone Beth fiasco. But I feel like if this had happened in a series with the tone of earlier Rick and Morty, this would have been a big moment, with gravity, acknowledged as a significant part of Beth's emotional arc, and given room to breathe. But it isn't, and that's fine too, but it's only natural, I think, to respond to this Beth moment, or rather, this lack of a Beth moment, with curiosity. Why did this episode, this season, do it like this? And is there a link to the statistics we were talking about earlier? Well, I think so. To me, the unifying trend, as indicated by the 50% increase of punchline type moments, is a general leaning toward humour. Wow, thanks, Captain Obvious. No, but this is more significant than it sounds, trust me. So there's more humour, right? Up to 50% more. And maybe some episodes go beyond that, but the runtime hasn't changed. So this share of time that's being given to these quips, sarcastic one-liners, etc., that has to come from somewhere. So this necessarily means the pacing is going to feel different. Less time for moments like these, and less time for plot stuff that doesn't have a quip or a punchline. That's why everything feels a little faster too. Part of the beauty of Rick and Morty has always been the way it balanced humour and drama, mirrored in the juxtaposition between the show's two main environments, wacky sci-fi worlds and the utterly normal Smith household. The way we follow our characters through all these breathtaking scenes. But despite the things they do and the larger-than-life characters they meet, the heart of the show is family and relationships. That's what makes everything else matter, and it seems like maybe we'll be getting less of this from now on. Bearing in mind the points I made earlier about Beth and the increase in jokes, I think the key change is that the show has just generally become willing to turn more moments into jokes. Fewer things are off limits to being turned into a quip or replaced with a sweary retort, so as a result it happens more often and the moments of melodrama are a little more rushed and a little rarer. Maybe there's a better balance to be found though. Maybe we'll see it in the season 5 finale. Look, don't get the wrong impression. Rick and Morty has always been a deeply comedic show, and there's still tender, emotional moments in there too. Just take the end of the Planetina episode, one of my favourites of season 5, despite still feeling a little faster paced. But I think this Beth thing and my little survey do show a general change in tone from the show's earlier days. And hey, I felt a similar way about some episodes of season 4, albeit to a lesser degree, so there's not like some switch flick between 4 and 5, and now it's a different show entirely. It's probably just the result of a gradual transition. More recent seasons have seen the show's creators Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland take more passive roles, long-time creative voices like Ryan Ridley leave, and generally there's been writer turnover. I think it's natural that a different situation in the writer's room, after nearly 10 years on the air, will create a different feel, not necessarily worse or better. It feels like some of the conceits more recent episodes have been based on were picked for being funny, humorous ideas, whereas maybe previously sci-fi conceits were picked more often due to being intriguing conceits in their own right, with the humour coming later on in the process. Like, what's the love life of a hive mind look like? Or what if you could watch TV from other dimensions? Or what would those scam texts and emails we're all so familiar with look like if a massively advanced alien race tried to pull them off? But this is starting to be more opinionated and less specific, and I'm sure there's plenty of counterexamples you could raise, so I'm gonna draw this video to a close. I've done my best to analyse my feelings and opinions on Season 5, but do you agree that Season 5 feels different? Do you prefer this looser tone, in which it feels like everything's a little less serious? Or do you wish for a little more breathing room? If any of you have other ideas for why or how the season seems different or unique, then let me know, and if you'd like to see more Rick and Morty content, then make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying out a lot of different content on this channel at the moment, so I need to know what to focus on going forward. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And I'm gonna go and get a lamb sip.